Hello, good morning or good afternoon, in whatever time zone you are right now. My name is Philip Ely. I'm going to be presenting our paper on monsters in the Borderlands, designer academics in action. In 2007, Nigel Cross contributed an essay to this volume, Design Research Now, in which he suggested that outstanding designers who can be expected to work and operate in ways that are the boundaries of normal practice. Studying such boundary conditions may provide more significant results and an extension of our understanding that's not available from studying average designers. And in a later paragraph, Cross argued that studying average and novice designers may limit our understanding of design and hold back design methodology, leading to weak or even inappropriate models for design cognition. Now, as we're aware, many of us are aware that design as a discipline and a process is shaped by a heterogeneous network of ideas, artifacts, projects, people, and places, which might be best explained, to borrow Susan Lee Starr's term, an ecology. And the field of design is a mixed ecology of the mundane to the exceptional, from the average to the outstanding. In this ecology, we find designer academics. We've got hybrid roles inhabiting spaces between practice and theory and history and research. And these liminal spaces between disciplinary communities of practice have been conceptualized by Boker and Starr as borderlands, and people who refuse to be naturalized into any one professional membership as monsters. These designer academic monsters may not be the highly esteemed designers sought after by Cross, but are they deserving of our attention? Do they not shed light on contemporary design practice? Now, obviously, the world of design discourse relies heavily on autobiographical and biographical and sometimes polemical approaches to explain design in action, and it's often written by individuals who are themselves practicing designers. The disadvantages of these perspectives is that they only provide a limited view of design in action, and there are some obvious personal biases that can allow for a selective memory of how design projects have come about. To counter this criticism, we take a more reflective approach to the thick description of design activities in the full paper as forms of action research. I present two case studies, examples, two design projects drawn from a wider portfolio of 10 projects, and I acted as lead design researcher over a 36-month period in a university setting. The two projects explored here cross the boundaries between pedagogy, research, and practice, and draw knowledge from at least two design disciplines as outlined in the table here. In the following cases, we've changed the names of companies and projects or individuals to protect their anonymity. The first one is this project here, Social Design in Action. Now, I was first approached by the coordinator of an initiative called 0 to 18, which involved a primary school in the delivery of integrated health, education, and welfare service to families. And it aimed to support families from the baby's antenatal stage of development right the way through to the child entering the workplace or higher education. It's an attempt to break children out of the poverty cycle and enable them to reach their full potential. There's a similar project in New York, the Harlem Children's Zone, which was partly a model for this project. The coordinator of that project asked me for a brand identity as part of a student-led project. However, during a lengthy telephone conversation, I explained the scope of design research practice, and it seemed that the project not only required a name and a brand identity, but also support in designing a complex interagency framework for collaborative working. Myself and fellow researcher Qassim SAAD met with the primary school principal. We were able to agree collaborative steps forward. We developed a development plan or an engagement model where we synthesized a number of design thinking methodologies, design process models, and developed this in tandem with the project team, with the 018 team, to take steps forward. Two important characteristics here of the project should be highlighted. Firstly, there were some really compelling stories coming from the principal and the coordinator of the project about families who faced extremes of domestic violence or poverty or ill health. We couldn't help but want to get involved to help out. Secondly, in an ever-changing problem situation like this very complex one, unlike professional design commissions, this project really relied on all of the parties to try and work together to solve this social problem. And we needed to work together to sustain funding. Given the scale of the scope of the 0 to 18 initiative, we aim to bring in experts from across educational psychology, family health, law enforcement, social care, healthcare, childcare, and design. And we felt the need to draw attention to our contribution directly as a social design project. And to this end, we designed a project identity, social design in action. This early stage prototype helped to build a coalition, and it helped signify the intent of the project team. And we used social design in action as an explicit rhetorical device to enroll support for the project. It enabled us to secure funding. We were able to conduct a literature review of projects and methods, and enabled us to design a collaborative workshop, which we called a team studio, with project partners in the school. This team studio was designed to explore the problem space and consider next steps. We photographed each exercise. We captured everyday narratives of school interactions with parents and children, which provided us with some key insights into some real lives in trouble, and from the perspective of support workers or educators. The process reinvigorated our desire to kind of make something happen. We then also summarized and synthesized the outcomes from that workshop from a service blueprinting exercise and clustered them around service domains. And we made it really clear to the project team, we really need to secure funding between us to take the project forward. Unfortunately, two key events ground the project to a halt. The first one was that our collaborative bid we were pulling together was distracted by a statewide initiative, which actually distracted an international charity and a charitable foundation away from our project to this other state project. And we lost the bid. We lost our opportunity to raise funding. As if that wasn't enough, our project sponsor, the coordinator, who'd really been an advocate for our approach to the project, resigned, and the entire project kind of ground to a halt. We can think about this particular form of design in action. A couple of important insights here. First of all, graphic design expertise, brand expertise, was called upon initially, and eventually we brought in our design expertise from other domains, a more strategic use of design into the project. Unlike professional design studios where, clients will pay for projects to take them forward, here we really did rely on our own altruistic commitment to the project, and we required finance to take the project forward. But we put a lot of energy in prior to anything else happening next. But it wasn't enough. Social capital is not enough to sustain a project like this. We need funding to take projects forward. But in this case, we were traversing modes of design knowledge. We were starting out with everyday forms of design, making things, logos, and then applying our strategic thinking to more complex and unresolved design problems. This boundary spanning becomes more evident in the next project. This is a project originated from a senior academic in my faculty of humanities, who was looking for new ways of working amongst research leaders and to find new ways of presenting humanities research to wider audiences. So I designed a part-day workshop initially to look at how we might develop working practices, which were to be more generative, collaborative, and less, if you like, of a debate, less kind of committee kind of orientation, more action orientated. The starting point was Jean Lidko's ideas towards more design-centric approaches to managing, and I adopted her design for growth model of what is, what if, what works and what wows to develop the workshop design, but also to develop a working methodology. Now, out of the workshop, the collaborative workshop of 23 research leaders, we synthesized some key themes using qualitative data analysis software, and then a small team of 5 researchers synthesized these still further into overarching focus areas for the faculty: people, planet, and technology. We asked the question, what if? To develop a coherent narrative description of research, I also edited and designed a publication, Research in the Humanities, and we turned this publication into a discursive artifact. So design research has been applied in 2 ways here. We reorientated our gaze, the academic gaze, away from the problems of now towards creating possible futures. So it was a process sense. Secondly, the making of things, publications, visualizations is a form of graphesis. And although the publication is yet to be completed, this artifact becomes a discursive form of design which stimulates conversation, debate, and sometimes disagreement. In summary, what these 2 case studies show is that obviously design goes beyond designing artifacts, but more importantly, it provides a glimpse into the work of designer academics who, like their professional brethren, act like design entrepreneurs who have to confront certain situations and seek out alternative ways of framing particular problems. They're tinkerers. Not every design project that a designer academic engages in or initiates ends in a positive outcome, or even any outcome at all. And sometimes it ends up in failure. But this should not be the reason to ignore them in favor of the professional designer who works in industry. We should think of these monsters in the Borderlands as homologous to the revered, outstanding designers that dominate our short history. They can tell us as much about design as the professionals. Now I hand over to any questions.